Hey everybody, it's FTLAK, and today we're going to go over world gen settings. All right, so let's get started here. We're going to go in, and on your main screen, you're hosting a game. We can create a new game. All right, so relaxed. A more relaxed play style with less threats of the world. Survivors don't die from starvation, freezing, or overheating, or darkness. Damage to survivors is reduced. Resurrection's always available from the forward person. Resurrection is always available from the florid postern. Endless, a never-ending Don't Starve sandbox. Resurrection is always available from the florid postern. Survival, the standards of Don't Starve experience. The standard Don't Starve experience. Wilderness, wild and dangerous out there. Enter at a random location in the world, and when you die, you pick a new survivor and try again. This is a really fun way to play. There is a mod that I'd recommend just to where you would keep your map. Wilderness can be a lot of fun. The pre-building technique that I talk about a lot in my streams and on YouTube is not golden in here because you will lose everything. And then lights out. A dark twist on the standard Don't Starve experience. All right, so we're gonna go in just as a survival, and let's go through all these settings. Hey everybody, it's FTLAK. Thank you for checking this out. Thank you for clicking the link in the description below. That's my content creator code for support a creator for Nodecraft. It's FTLAK at checkout. Gets you 30% off your first month. I just want to show you, plans are awesome. $10 a month, you can get 2 gigs, 4 gigs, 8 gigs, up to 40. Just depending on what you're looking for. So they have a nano, kilo, megs, and an omega, just depending on what you're playing. If you're playing by yourself, nano and kilo are probably your best bet on most games. Megs and omega if you're playing a large open world game. The games that they have available now continues to grow. 7 Days to Die, we've had our server on there before. Don't Starve Together, we've had our server on there constantly. Pale World, they now have. You've seen people on Project Zombie, Minecraft, and so many more. The best part about it is you can start with just one. So let's say that we started with a kilo today. Let's say playing Don't Starve. You can actually save that world, put it to the side, use that same server on a different game. That's what these 10 save and swap servers are. So you can only have one active at a time, but definitely useful if you only want to pay for one server. Or you could go crazy and pay for a couple. Please use the link in the description below, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody. So you're in your basic world settings. You can change the name of your world. You can make it something clever, creative, and fun, or you can just call it your name. The description. So this is actually going to be what shows up when people click on it. I'll usually have something about Nodecraft because I'm usually on a Nodecraft server, which they're fantastic. Definitely check out that in the description link below. You can set this up to public, friends, local only, or Steam group. Personally, I usually do friends only or public. I like to have you guys play with me. I'm going to just set this one up local so that we don't have people joining in. Your game mode, this is actually set on the screen before now. It used to be set here. PvP, you can turn that on or off. Players, so I'm just going to have it for me. You can set a passcode. This is the passcode to get into the world. Your save type. Local save is going to be on your computer, or your Steam cloud save is going to be online. I've been saving mine locally recently, just because I've actually got my servers saved, obviously, to Nodecraft on the cloud, but it's nice to have a copy on the computer if I need it. Server mode is always online. Then we're going to go up to the top. We're going to go forest. So from the forest, we actually want to click world gen settings. The reason we want to click this first is this is the settings that you set up that you cannot change afterwards. So this is one time, set it up before you start the world. The world settings, you can change at any time. So you can log in day 1 and we can have something like survivor death, become a ghost. And then on day 10, you can change it to be like wilderness where you have to change survivor. Kind of a fun little twist. You can change all of these after. You cannot change your world generation settings. This is only for the generation. So starting season, you can have autumn, winter, spring, summer, or random, I think. Yeah, random, or winter or summer, or autumn or spring. I'm gonna leave it on autumn. Biomes, so you can have together, classic. So these are the classic Don't Starve biomes, or together. I recommend keeping this on together. It's fun every now and then to change it to the classic biomes, but I believe you actually do lose some of the new together biomes. Starting area, this is one that I like to change a lot. If you can make it past day 20, you deserve to change this. So spawn area default, you can go dark, where it's always dark. You can go plus. And the reason I go plus is this will actually give you the 3 chests. One is filled with tools, one is filled with food, and one is filled with basic materials. And the reason I say if you can get past day 20, you've been able to gather all of the things that are within there. The food is a little different and sporadic, but just a nice jump start to your game. It's enough to make you build a science machine, a backpack, and some other stuff. So plus is definitely something I like to set up. Your world size, we can go huge. Large is by default. You can go medium or you can go small. Actually do a huge world just for fun. Branches and loops. So branches are going to make the world basically large branches, and loops you can make kind of that donut world. My personal preference is branches most, loops never. And that will make it to where you almost have like an octopus or a squid with multiple arms coming off from a central point in the middle of the map. That is my personal preference. I like to walk from one branch to the other and know exactly what I'm going into versus walking into the woods not knowing what the next branch is if it was on a loop. So this just, again, personal preference. Roads, if you're a mega baser, you might love and enjoy that you can now turn this off. I've been turning roads off. Roads do give you a speed boost when you're walking on them, so it's something that you might not want to turn off. I've turned it off, just visually appealing. If you're new to the game, it might be good to keep them on because then you can set up signposts and things telling you like go left, go right, so that you're not constantly checking the map. Touchstones, again, more, lots, tons, insane. This is personal preference. I like to put on lots. I still don't feel like I get lots. But this is just somewhere that you can revive that's not the main floored postern in the middle of the map or wherever it's at located in the map. Fallen survivors, more or lots or tons or insane. I'm gonna actually turn this on insane. I typically will keep it on more. Lots is fun. I kind of want to see what a world with insane amount is. Each fallen survivor will have items that they have dropped or left for you, so it helps kind of give you picking up, you're scavenging from a dead body basically. Starting resource variety, you can have default, classic, or highly random. Highly random is going to just give you that highly random items. You could get things that maybe you don't get early game typically, pretty close to the front. So we're going to keep that at default. Celestial fissures, again, default more, lots, tons, and I believe insane. Junkyard, if you want the junkyard on or off, remember when turning something like this off, because it is in the generation, it means it will not be there moving forward. So the stage plays, once you've done that, you might not want to do it again. So that's something that you can turn off. I'm going to turn that off. The terrarium is something that you can turn to none or keep on default. Personally, I recommend keeping this on default. It's nice to fight the eye. The terrarium crossover was a lot of fun. It's a cool event, and it's something that you have to go get this, touch it, wait for a full moon. So you can just go get it, leave it in your base, and never use it. But if you do turn it off, you won't have that option. So something to keep in mind. And then you're starting resources. So your anemones, your kelp, your berry bushes, boulders, bull kelp, cacti, carrots, flint, flowers, all of these can be set to default, more, lots, tons, insane, or little to none. So if you don't like dying by anemones, you can turn them off. If you don't like kelp, you can turn them off. If you want less boulders or little boulders or no boulders, you can turn it off. Remember, this is your generation settings. So if you turn something off, you will not be able to get it later unless it spawns naturally somewhere else. So typically for me playing as wort, I like to put on more kelp. I like more kelp, beach bull kelp, because this is the one that you can plant. So we can go insane amount. That'll give you tons and tons of bull kelp. Typically the default will get you anywhere from, I believe, 20 to 40. More, I think, gets you more, lots gets you lots, and tons gets you tons. Insane gets you an insane amount. I'm going to put it on insane just for fun. We're not going to keep this world. But if you're new to the game and you're starving, you can do something like turn on more carrots, or you can, I never find flint. You can turn on more flint. These are things that you can turn on just to make it a little bit easier for you. Scrolling down, we've got lunar saplings, lunar trees, meteor fields, mini glaciers, mushrooms, palm cone trees, ponds, reeds, saplings, sea snacks, spiky bushes, stone fruit, trees, all, and tumbleweeds. I love tumbleweeds. I keep this on default. Amazingly enough, you will see me go through and get tumbleweeds quite often. You can go all the way to insane, just like on everything else, but keeping it on default is fine. You can turn it to more if you want a different experience. But remember, everything that you are spawning in, especially in a huge world, is adding to the items that are potentially going to be on the ground, and that can cause lag and other things depending on your system. I'm going to turn on more stone fruit bushes because I love these. Meteor fields, you can turn them on less, little, or none. If you want to change the floored postern to where you can then change characters, you do need this on because the meteor needs to fall. Turning it on little and less will make it happen a little bit less. Default isn't really that bad. You just need to figure out where it is. The issue that I've run into with having less or little is it doesn't go off around the same amount of time. So sometimes it's difficult to locate it. You may have built your base up and then a meteor shower hits and destroys your base, which is never fun. creatures and spawners. So this is bees, beefalo, buzzards, carrots, rats, hollowed stumps, marauder dens, mole burrows, pig houses, rabbit holes, salamanders, shoals. This is like your fish out in the ocean, bullet goats, and lobster mounds. All of these can be set to none, little, less, default, more, lots, tons, insane. Again, these are all of your interactive like characters that you're interacting with. For me, I would love to turn pig houses off, but there is value in them getting the pig butts to make helmets. Just depends on your personal preference. Buzzards are a great source of meat if you need one, and some cool tricks with buzzards. You can just drop down meat. They will go over and start picking at it if you're in that area in the desert. And then hostile creature spawners. So clockworks, hound mounds, killer beehives, leaky shacks. Hostile. Man, I love these guys. Mactusk camps, seaweeds, shattered spider holes, spider dens, and tall birds and tentacles. All again can be set to none, little, less, default, more, lots, tons, and insane. This again, personal preference. I actually use a different mod that you'll see in a different video to get more Mactusk if you want that, to make sure that you get the triple Mactusk. Leaky Shacks, I like turning this on more or lots. I don't think I do lots too much. I did find in that same mod, which is a world generation mod, that you can have multiple Leaky Shacks using the Maxwell Shrine for merms. So I've been keeping this at default and utilizing that. If you want more tentacles, you can turn them on here. If you want less tentacles, you can turn them down here. Your shattered spiders, these are the ones that are on lunar. Again, this is all just personal preference. This is how my world gen might look. I usually don't do insane, but that would be my world gen. So I can then save this as a preset right here. I can save, call it whatever I want. Whoa, crazy YouTube. Set it as a new preset. So now it's saved. If you ever make a change, all you have to do is just update current preset by clicking here. We're gonna go over to the world settings. And now I'm still saved as this. So any changes that I make on these pages, I'll just wanna make sure that I update by hitting save right here. And you can separate if you want these separate right here. I recommend just making one that does it for both, just because it'll make your life a lot easier. All right, so your global world setting. So this is something you can change at any time. So your winter, you can have it default, short, very short, or you can turn it off. You can have it long, very long, or random. I used to change some of these. You can change autumn, winter, spring, summer, but honestly, I keep them what they're at default now. Summer is annoying, but it gives me a good opportunity to go down to the caves and kind of better my skills down there. My day type, I do enjoy changing this one to long days. Long days is going to make it to where you have a short enough night where you could almost get away with not being hit by Chester in the middle of the night, usually just by finding some small amount of light. You can have long dusk, you can have long night, no day, no dusk, no night, only day, only dusk, only night, but personally my favorite is just long day. Spawn mode, you can start at the florid postern, random, so similar to a wilderness. Survivor deaths, you can become a ghost or change survivors. Revive at the florid postern is currently disabled because of the game setup that we set, but you know what? I want to enable that. I think that that's a great place, the centralized location. If you build your first basic starter base there, it's nice for new people to come and to be able to just kind of check it out and experience it, and it's a safe spot for people to go. Ghost sanity drain, you can enable or disable. Death reset timer, you can set to fast, instant, or slow, or disable it. So this is if somebody dies, how quickly into the world resets. I've never actually done instant, but that would mean that your world is regenning the minute all 4 characters in your party die, or however many characters you have in world. So if you have 1, you are world genning right away. Personally, I set this to default. It gives you a fair amount of time to get back to a spot that you can respawn. There are other ways of respawning if needed, but something to keep in mind. That's what that setting does. Beefalo mating frequency, you can change to little, none, default, more, tons. Now, if you set it to tons, they're going to mate more, which means they're going to make more. Eventually, they will overwhelm certain areas. This is good if you use them to fight bosses, but it's also bad because they will be protective of that space. Cramp Eye, you can change his setting as well to more, tons, little, or none. This is just if you want to see them more. You've got your events. So these are events that happen throughout the year. We've got the Midsummer Carnival, Hallowed Nights, Winter's Feast, Year of the Gobbler, Year of the Varg, Year of the Pig King, Year of the Carrot, Year of the Beefalo, Year of the Catcoon, Year of the Bunnyman, Year of the Dragonfly. So every year, one of these will happen, and every year it will do it by default. So what I do is actually just keep all of these on default. The main reason I do that is If it's summertime and this is going on, it will automatically change in that world. If you have it set to always, that means it's always going to be Halloween in your world, which is cool if that's what you're into. But if you're like, well, I want that Winter's Feast stuff, you would have to actually come in here in settings and change it. This way it gives you a good opportunity to kind of play through the settings as intended. Survivors. So extra starting resources after day 10 is what it's set to by default. You can set it 5, you can set it to always, or you can go 15, 20, or never. So that would be if somebody spawns in after day 10, they'll have a couple of resources already on them. Starting items, seasonal starting items, either default or none. So let's say that you spawned into a world and it's the middle of winter. They'll actually give you earmuffs or a hat or something that will help you with that cold because you're spawning in during winter. The same goes for summer, autumn, and spring. Griever spawn protection. This is set to auto. What this is going to do is make them drop items like Chester's Bone or items that you cannot lose from the world. You don't want to lose Chester's Eye Bone because without it, you can't carry Chester around. So there are certain things, well, it will automatically detect that and drop them from the person. The one issue that I do have with this is it drops it wherever they're at in the world, which makes sense. So if you have a Griever who takes the eye bone and runs out into the middle of the desert and drops it down, that's where it will be. Or if they spawn out at that point, that's where it will be. It's good to have it always on. Auto detect, I kind of just keep it by default right there. Drop items on disconnect. This is a cool new setting. So if you're playing on public servers, or if it's your public server, you can have them drop everything when they leave. So that means it's going to drop their backpack and every single item that they have. This is good and bad. If they have food, it's going to drop it right on the floor. If they come back into the world, let's say days later, somebody may have picked up their items. That's kind of the disadvantage of this. Personally, what I'd recommend is leave this to default. What I would do is just set up a little area at your base or tell them to build their own base. It's completely your preference, but I'll set up little areas and let people build their own little 4x4 square that they can then put their own items, their own placements. They can make it their own little home so that they have a room within the world that we're in. Max health penalty, you can enable. That's where you get the black bar and you have to fix it, or you can disable it. Damage taken, you can have default, you can have less, or you can have more. Temperature damage, hunger damage, darkness damage, sanity. All of these, if you put it on the relaxed, are going to go down to non-lethal, which means you will not die from one of these. Complete preference up to you. If you're having a hard time getting through summer, I would recommend going down to the caves and avoiding Antlion your first summer, unless you can get a Flingo or you can get prepared. If not, it is something that you can turn off and you can change it right when summer is done. And then enlightened monsters, default, you can have little or none, more or tons. This is if you're on Lunar Island. All right. And then in our world, so hound attacks, ice hound waves, fire hound waves, forest petrification, frog rain, hunting / surprises, hunts, lightning, lunar hail, meteor frequency, rain, rift frequency, wild rifts, and wildfires. All of these can be changed, and they can be changed at any time. Most people will turn off wildfires. This will allow you to base somewhere other than the Oasis, which it's a whole world. I would recommend doing that. This is really one of the only ones I change. Lightning, if I was playing WX, I might go to little. Frog rain, now that they're no longer hostile towards wart, I've been keeping this on. It's actually nice. It's a good meat source for any of my meat eating friends that are in world. Everything else you can kind of keep. If you don't want to deal with hound waves, you can turn them to none. With that, keep in mind you will not be getting red gems from those hounds. So if you're needing of red gems, it might be good to have this and just get a Flingo or something. Resource and regrowth. So regrowth multiplier, basic resources, birchnut trees, cacti, carrots, evergreens, flowers, lunar trees, palm cone trees, reeds, salt formations, and twiggy trees. This is just the rate that you want them to grow. So twiggy trees, I don't like them. You can turn them to none. Palm trees, I want more of them. Have them grow very fast. You can change all of these. How quickly do you want your trees to grow? Very fast, very slow, or none. Again, personal preference. Twiggy trees are nice because they drop the twigs for you, but with that, in a longer world, they're just going to continually be dropping trees. I feel like our new marauders are going to help with this, but until I know 100%, I'm going to kind of probably keep hitting this on none. Unnatural portal resources, so monkey tails, powder monkey, crustaceans, portal activity, palm cone sprouts, banana bushes. So again, default more tons or little or none. Personal preference. Same with creatures. You can now change the marauders. They're adorable. If you don't like grass geckos, you can turn them off. If you don't like pangolins, You can turn them to little. You can turn them off. I'm actually going to keep them on default. I like getting the black feathers for free from them. If you want more butterflies, which is a great source of food and other items, like not a bad idea to turn them on more. Same with bees, birds, and everything else. Or hostile creatures. So if you don't like dealing with sharks or the shattered spiders, you can turn them down. If you want to deal with more merms, I do. You can turn on more McTuss, you can turn to more, but all of your hostile creatures, and then your giants. So why would I want to add more giants? That is a great question. So first, you should absolutely turn your poison birch nut trees off. They're just silly. If you want to turn them on and die from them, go to town. They just seem like a waste to me. I kind of wish that they were closer to tree guards with a different attack style. Tree guards are fun to like fight and attack. These ones are just kind of annoying for me. It is something that you can turn on or off. For Bearger, Antlion, Crab King, Deerclops, Dragonfly, Bee Queen, your Eye of Terror, Frostjaw, Claws, all these other ones, if you turn them to more, you have the opportunity to get them more than once in their spawned season. If you turn it to tons, the same thing. You'll be able to, the opportunity. It moves that timer for them down. So instead of spawning every 15 days or every 20 days, which those two numbers are a complete guess, check the wiki, it will give you the ability to get more than one within that season. So I've actually turned my Deerclops up to more and tons before. The main reason, I want to kill Deerclops. I want to practice fighting Deerclops. Also, I need that eye to make an umbrella. So instead of spawning one in, why not just fight two Deerclopses in my first winter, give both players the eye so that we both get umbrellas. Kind of a fun, different way of doing that. Those are our world jed settings. From there, we can go over to caves. This is really cool. This was a neat addition. So add caves. This requires running multiple servers at the same time. Is your computer up for that task? Yes, it is. Another reason to get Nodecraft. Nodecraft does not charge you for a second server in having this. So always add caves. You can click the box or you can decide each time. If you do not add caves, you will not have access to those resources that are only in the caves. Keep that in mind. I'm going to hit add caves just so we can see what those resources are. The main one that you're going to need is the lights. You're going to need light flowers. You're not going to be able to get lunar mush trees and some of the other items. You won't be able to go to the ancient gateway and fight Fuel Weaver. So there's a lot in the caves that you will want to do. I recommend always having them and then just not opening one of the doors to the caves unless you feel confident in going down there. We're going to start with world generation settings for the caves. This is, again, something that you cannot change after you have generated the world, so keep that in mind. Let's make the caves small. Let's put loops to never, branches most, so it feels the same as upstairs. I'm going to turn on a lot. Let's go tons of fallen, and we'll go more just for fun. We're going to scroll down. Do we want more lights? You can add them here. We want more glowberries. Do we want more mushrooms, reeds, trees, any resources downstairs? You know what? I want to make a lot of banana pops. You can put on more bananas. Creatures that spawn. I love the rabbits. I think they're cute and they're awesome. They also don't like meat eaters. Turning them on more for me is just fun. I hate monkeys. I will go burn all of these down if I have to. I can just turn them on less. And then your hostile creatures. I will tell you from my experience, the first probably 2 years I played the game and I went down into the caves, when I had the ability to get rid of spiders, I did. I just turned them off because then I didn't have to deal with them. It makes going through that area so much easier. Is that the way to play the game? Doesn't matter how I played the game, and I had fun and I'm still playing. Now I keep these on default. Like, it's something that I have to learn and I have to get better at, but it is something, if you want to just explore those areas that you've never been, it's a fun and easy way for you to change that. You can also turn off the cave worms. I like fighting these. It's actually a nice little change from the hounds. So again, personal preference. Just know any of these that you change, you cannot change because it is part of the generation of the world. And then we're gonna go world settings. Same thing, same as before. You can change your resources, you can change the creatures, you can change the hostile creatures, and you can change the giants. If you're turning them up, it's gonna give you more opportunity to fight them. If you turn them down, it's gonna give you less. So that is it for our first 3 settings. From there, we would go to our mods. So something to keep in mind with mods, again, don't feel obligated that you have to use any of the ones that I do, because you don't. With this game, it's beautiful, it's fun. As long as you enjoy playing it, do it the way that you want to do it. So the difference between server mods and client mods, server are built into the server. So if I'm making a Nodecraft server, any of these server mods I turn on will always be on the server, whether I am there or not. Client mods are for the client, so the person that is playing. So for me, I have Action Queue Reborn 3. This is a great one for anybody who's streaming or wants it to do things in an action queue. So this is when I tap on a tree and then it just starts chopping all the trees for me so that I can sit and talk to chat. Admin Scoreboard Plus. This is one that I've had for a really long time. I just really enjoy being able to turn on and off God mode, put out fires. I can move to other characters to see if they wanted to show me something. Advanced controls coming from consoles, so this is a fun one for me, being able to force attack things. Combined stats, geometric placement, gesture wheel. Idea testing is one that I've used in the past. Menu redux is a fantastic one made by Clifford. I haven't used recently. It had a bug, but I think he's fixed it. Looks like, yeah, there's a couple of new versions. HUD minimap, if you like the little minimap I have in my window. Nightmare phase indicator. This is one that I've turned on and off. There's actually a couple of items that will actually show you this, but something fun to keep in mind. Too many items. I can make a YouTube video just about this. Oh, wait, I have. So check that one out. Beefalo buck timer, digital clock, extended map icons. There's a lot for client mods. We're gonna go to our server mods because these are the ones that are gonna affect the server. So for me, chaos tricks, when I'm streaming, there's over 100 tricks that you guys can do. This interacts with the game in a fun way for me and makes it more fun for you. Epic health bar. Let's actually turn that on. Epic health bar, just your stereotypical old health bar, which I love having, so turned it on. Finder redux, so this, when you're holding on to an item, it will actually highlight the box that is located in near your base, which is one that I really, really like. If you're trying to find something to build, it'll actually highlight what boxes those items are in. Global positioning, so by default, this shows the arrows on the scoreboard, and it shows them on the minimap, same as campfires and fuels and fire pits. I turn this on. One thing I would recommend if you like playing Wilderness is configure the mod, and you can actually configure the mod to Wilderness Override to where it will be, I have it enabled, so that will make it to where even in Wilderness you will get the map. Even if you die, it will stay there. Infinite tent siestas and lean-tos, never perish icebox. These ones, just personal preference. If you build a tent, the tent's up. Otherwise, you get 10 uses on it, which is fine. I don't mind rebuilding tents. The main reason I use this one is once I place the tent, I want to place things around it. I don't want to place something that's going to make it to where I can't build a tent there afterwards, which can happen. Never perish icebox. This is just something that usually people in stream will ask me for. The main reason is I will put a ton of food in the fridge. I will log out. Someone will log in, not check my fridge for 30 days. Come back to a fridge full of rot. No thermal stone durability. That's how it was in Don't Starve. That's how it is in Don't Starve Together. No, I'm just kidding. It's not how it is in Don't Starve Together. That's why I have this mod. Rain of Runts. Recently had a couple of people ask me, how are you playing with deer clops? How are you playing with moose goose? This is just a really cool mod. They have added Skrilltude Spotlight for Bear and Dragonfly. You can configure the health, sanity, and hunger of each character. You can do ground pound damage. You can actually set everything up for them. It's really kind of cool, but it gives you 4 bosses that you're able to then control. So moose goose, dragonfly, deer clops, and bearger, and you can play them as playable characters. They're a miniature version. They're a runt version, so to speak, but definitely a fun mod to play with. Set piece configuration. This is one that allows me to do things like set up my reed trap so that I always get one, developer graveyard, and then the Mechtusk Village, the Mechswell Merm Shrine or Pig Shrine. Wormhole markers, if you want to mark your wormholes. Jazzy has a fantastic video on how to move wormholes. This is kind of the dumbed down, easy version without having to use console commands. You're just using a telelocation staff and actually moving your wormhole markers to wherever you want. I actually like building a base where all 4 wormholes are located at corners of the base. So if I'm hearing hounds, I can run to the wormhole that brings me over to my hound area. If I'm wanting to fight dragonfly, I can go left and I can go right to the dragonfly wormhole, but that one's a lot of fun. Then there's some other mods that I've added through the years, some ones to mention that are just fun. Reforged, if you've never played Reforged, this is a fantastic mod. Tropical Experience, so if you wanted to actually play Hamlet or Shipwrecked, Wuzzy is another mentionable one that's just a lot of fun to play. It's fun playing modded characters. I would definitely recommend checking them out. The heavy weapons guy is a lot of fun. I love playing as Gur from Invader Zim as well. Like there was a Link mod a long time ago. So I've set those up and I'm going to say, cool, we're ready to go. Let's generate that world. Hey everybody, it's FTLAK, and if you check out FTLAK.com, you can check out all of my awesome stickers. We've got many to choose from. Different sizes are available. Check it out. We've also got other merch. All of our products are here. If there's something that you're interested in getting or want a customized t-shirt or sweatshirt or something like that, please let me know. I'd love to put your name on it. I've made some for some mods in the past, and I would love to do it again. Check out FTLAK.com. Whew, I don't know why that took so much longer than normal. All right, so we're on our survivor screen, and you can see I turned on Rain of Runts. So I have the ability to pick Deerclops, Barriger, Moose Goose, and Dragonfly. And it has their stats obviously on the side just like everybody else. They're definitely a lot of fun. You can click on them. You can see they do have skill trees just like everyone else, which is kind of neat and exciting. So yeah, definitely worth checking that mod out if you haven't already. Deerclops hasn't gotten theirs yet. Who was the other one? Was it Dragonfly? Yeah, Dragonfly has their skill set, which is kind of neat. I believe that they still only get 15 as well, and have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So they have less options, which might make it a little bit easier to choose from, but still really kind of enjoyable. I swear, hold on. There we go. It's like, I know that they have skins. They put a lot of effort into this mod, so that's really why I'm like kind of shouting it out. There you go. It's just so neat to see. Gosh, that is terrifying. Somebody put forth this much effort, so kudos to you. All right, we're gonna pick Wart. That's what we do. Some of your settings in here that you might not know about, this little clothing presets. So I actually have all of the different Wart skins set as presets, so I can quickly switch between them. I do this because I have a channel point redeem where you can say, hey, go to 3, which, you know, is Cthulhu. To get one of these, all you have to do is set up the way you want your merm to look. So if I like this, I can hit clothing presets. I can go down to one that is empty, and I can hit the check mark, or sorry, I can hit the save to save it. If you hit the check mark, it's gonna make you blank. So kind of neat. And then curious for starting items. So you want starting items and which ones. And that would be starting items during that season, obviously. So we're gonna pick Wart. Let's actually go with my goat. Let's go. All right, so remember I said that plus gives you 3 chests. So a chest of food. This is gonna be a chest of basic materials. Usually enough to build a small, short little standard base, and then big box of tools. The tools also has backpack blueprint, gunpowder, and straw roll. When I'm starting in a world, this is typically what I'll do just to get started. I'll leave 1 chest. I tear everything else down. You can build a fire pit. So when a new survivor comes in, they have access to a quick fire. Usually build a science machine, so they have access to that. Because from this point, then they can build backpacks and other things. So for me, I'll go through, pick a good one. And then before I start running around, I will usually rebuild these 3 items. The main reason I built those is now when I step away from the machine, I have those so that I can build. You can see how this has a lock on it. I can't build it even though I have the correct materials because you haven't pre-built. Or built it at least 1 time because you have to be next to the machine. It's a couple of things that I would recommend building from the get-go. Spear, so that you have a weapon. Even though you got one in the box, it's still good to have a weapon design on you so that you can build a weapon to defend yourself. The other one that you don't know off the bat is a shovel. That would be the other one that I would recommend. Everything else, I mean, unless you're getting armor or something else, you don't necessarily need to build right away. Build a lightning rod so that we don't die. And that's it. That was our basic world settings. I hope that this helped. See you on the next one, everybody. Bye.